What's up everyone, John Redinger from Techno Buffalo here, and today we're taking a first look at the brand new late 2012 21.5 inch iMac. This came with a bigger 27 inch brother, which we'll take a look at next week. Let's go and take a look at the specs of this iMac, which I've named Max, and we'll see what it's got, whether or not it's worth your money. Alright, so the first thing you'll notice, at least by staring directly at the screen, is not much has changed, well, at least just looking at it. Apple has done quite a bit to remove the glare from the bezel, and from that standpoint, they've done a very good job. There really isn't that much glare coming across off of this black bezel. But we start to notice the real hotness when you turn this guy on its side, and you see that Max here went on quite a diet. It's not as thin as you might think, at least when you look at it from the side. You think, wow, how'd they do that? Then you start going on in, and you see that actually there's a decent amount of thickness towards the middle of the device. There is a ton of port options, aplenty on this guy. So we've got 4 now USB 3.0, which is quite awesome. Can't really tell they're USB 3.0 because they didn't use the blue or put it 3.0 there, but you'll know because I told you. I've got 2 Thunderbolt ports, gigabit Ethernet, SDXC, so for all your XD card slots, which is pretty incredible that the SD card slot is actually one of the thinnest parts of the machine that the card can even fit in there. And of course, your audio in. The 21.5 inch model does not have a slot for upgradable RAM. So if you want to upgrade your RAM, you're going to be limited to the 27 inch model. It's going to have a little slot right here where you would be able to access that RAM. Put this guy back. So this is the entry-level model, which is going to set you back about $1,300. It is being powered by, instead of me just telling you, let me show you, a 2.7 gigahertz Intel Core i5, that is quad core. In the basic configuration, you're getting 8 gigs of RAM. I believe that's on 2 4 gigabyte DIMMs, and it's 1600 megahertz DDR3 RAM. You can get a 1 terabyte hard drive, which is going to spin very slowly at 5400 RPM. We'll talk about that hard drive in just a minute. But you can get the Fusion drive, which is going to pair different regular spinny drives with a solid state drive, 128 gigs. So you get one big volume, but you get the speed of an SSD with the storage of a traditional little spinny drive. Kind of nice. Powering this guy graphically is an NVIDIA GeForce GT 640M with 512 megabytes of RAM. So I don't think you're going to play games at crazy maxed out specs, because you're not going to be able to. Now certainly you can play your World of Warcraft, your StarCraft 2, whatever else you guys want to do on lower settings, it'll work fine. But if you really want a gaming powerhouse and you want to stay on the Mac side, this is definitely not your computer. So let's go ahead and check out some of the things that it can do. We ran disk speed test using Blackmagic, and we got not very impressive results. Again, 5400 RPM drive. About 101, 102-ish per second on the write, and on the read it was 97. So not super fast there either. What is this going to mean to you? Probably nothing. But if you do what we do with our computers, and that's a lot of video editing and a lot of importing and exporting, it's definitely going to be on the slower side. If you're just watching videos playing back, you're browsing the internet, not going to notice much of the speed. So don't worry that much about a 5400 RPM drive unless you're doing something that really relies on read-write speeds, in which case you're going to want to upgrade rather to the Fusion drive to get that solid state performance. Something to keep in mind. Speaking of performance, we also ran Geekbench. And this guy is certainly not setting the world on fire, but it is going to be fine for everyday computer. Our benchmark summary gives us a score of 9,151. So pretty respectable. It's not the fastest speeds in the world, but if you get a computer at the entry level price here, you're not really looking for the latest and greatest specs. Although at $1,300, it is pretty comparable with what you get for other all-in-ones. The screen here, though, is absolutely gorgeous. The resolution, everybody's going to be screaming, we wanted Retina, we wanted Retina, but it does look absolutely beautiful. With a resolution of 1920 by 1080, the screen is probably one of the best in the all-in-one designs. Sort of rounding out the specs here included in the box, you're going to get, of course, the Magic Mouse, which is the unergonomic multi-touch mouse that Apple like to ship with their products. Then you've got the wireless keyboard here as well. You can option up to have a wired version with a 10 key on the side. But for me, I prefer the external stuff. I have a Logitech MX Pro mouse that I love, and I use a Logitech keyboard with a full 10 key and solar charging. Makes it very fancy and helpful. But for general computing, this is going to be a great computer for you. Even if you do light video editing, you play around in iMovie, you want to edit pictures in iPhoto or Aperture, whatever you want to use, this is going to be a great computer for you. This is not a computer for heavy gamers, hardcore video editors, or folks that do a lot of 3D rendering. Anything else, so this is going to work great. It's also going to work wonderfully as a Windows machine, which sounds a little bit weird, but you can use a piece of software Apple included called Boot Camp, which lets you run 2 operating systems. So you can easily purchase or download Windows 8 or Windows 7 or any previous version of Windows, install it on here, and be able to run all your Windows applications as well. What's missing here, and probably a big omission for some folks, is a lack of any sort of HDMI. You can finagle an HDMI connection by getting an adapter, which Apple loves to do, plug into that Thunderbolt port, and no more CD DVD drive. So if you rely a lot on physical media, you want to pick up another add-on to add here. So if you don't want to use a super drive or pick up a super drive, you can use remote disk applications where you can actually piggyback on somebody else's CD DVD drive and install applications that way. For me though, I haven't used a physical media in quite a while, so it's not going to be that big a problem. But if you know that you're the kind of person that uses a lot of disks, like to burn CDs or DVDs, then you may want to look past this or at least add on another $100-ish, $120 for that super drive add-on, which can sit nicely right here. Overall, the computer's been very nice to use. It's been quick. It's been fast. It's going to work pretty well for everyday computing. I am, however, excited to see what the spec'd out 27-inch model is going to look like, which we'll have in next week. And of course, we'll have an unboxing and full comparison with that guy and give you the full rundown on what it can do. For now, though, I'm John Wrench from Techno Buffalo. Be sure to check us out at technobuffalo.com for the latest and greatest tech news. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.